From 19th century torture chambers to the hidden bathrooms of the Vatican City. Today, we're talking about 10 secret rooms in famous castles. Number 1. The Murd Castle. The Murd Castle is the name given to the World's Fair Hotel, a now destroyed building located about 3 miles west of the 1893 Chicago World Fair. The hotel was owned by H. Holmes, America's first documented serial killer who murdered 27 people in the secret rooms and torture chambers he specifically built for this purpose. The hotel was full of soundproof rooms and disorienting mazes of hallways, some of which seemed to go nowhere. Many of the rooms had trap doors with slides that would drop straight down to the basement where Holmes disposed of his victims' bodies. The basement was allegedly filled to the brim with acid vats, pits of quicklime, and a crematorium which Holmes used to finish off his victims. Holmes was arrested in 1894 and sentenced to death by hanging. Shortly after he was arrested and executed, his hotel was destroyed in a fire started by an unknown arsonist. The Murd Castle was later rebuilt and used as a post office. The site is now occupied by the Englewood branch of the U.S. Post Office and is often cited as one of Chicago's most haunted locations. Number 2. Bran Castle. Maybe you're not familiar with Bran Castle, but I bet you know all about its most famous inhabitant, Count Dracula. Hidden deep in Romania's Transylvanian mountains, Bran Castle was originally built as a stronghold for the knights of the Teutonic Order. Vlad III, Dracula, better known as Vlad the Impaler, was the ruler of Romania's Wallachia region in the late 1400s. Count Dracula was infamous for his brutal acts of war, which included impaling the bodies of his enemies and citizens on large spikes, hence the nickname, Vlad the Impaler. Today, Dracula's castle is one of the most famous landmarks in Europe, and hundreds of thousands of tourists from all over the world flock there every year. However, there's a lot more to Bran Castle than meets the eye. After the castle was given to Queen Marie in 1918 by the people of Romania, one of her workers stumbled upon a secret passage that had been lost for hundreds of years. This steep, narrow passageway is built directly into the wall and connects the first floor to the third floor of Dracula's castle. According to historians, it was used by officers as an escape route in case of emergency, but by the looks of it, you would think it came straight out of a horror film set. Number 3. Glamis Castle. Glamis Castle may not be a pop culture icon like Dracula's castle, but the dark legends surrounding it are just as terrifying. This 14th century castle is located near the village of Glamis in Angus, Scotland, and it is the home of the Earl and Countess of Strathmore and Kinghome. While often called the most beautiful castle in Scotland, Glamis is also known for hiding a dark secret. According to legend, from around the 1840s until 1905, the castle was home to a man who was too hideous and violent to be seen in public, so he lived out his days in a secret chamber in the castle. According to an article published in the journal Notes and Queries in 1908, in this chamber is confined a monster, who is the rightful heir to the title and property, but who is so unpresentable that it is necessary to keep him out of sight and out of possession. Several Victorian-era guests at Glamis Castle reported that a child born to the Bowes-Lyons family was so horribly disformed that he could never be allowed to inherit the title. His family decided to lock him up in a secret chamber in the castle, where the ghost is said to still reside. Number 4. Vyborg Castle. Vyborg Castle is a 13th century fortress built at the easternmost point of the medieval Swedish kingdom. From the 14th century all the way until World War II, the castle protected the Swedish border from the invaders from the east. In 2018, massive, Excavations at medieval Vyborg allowed archaeologists to explore the site like never before. Just a month after the excavation started, one of the archaeologists discovered a hidden spiral staircase with uneven steps which led to a secret crypt at the bottom. They also discovered 2 items in the crypt: a purse containing gold coins that dated back to the early 19th century and a clay brick that had a medieval board game etched into its surface. The board game was known as Nine Men's Morris, and according to historians, it was a primitive form of checkers. Excavations are still ongoing, and archaeologists believe that there are plenty more secrets to be found at Vyborg Castle. Number 5. Predjama Castle. The Predjama Castle is a unique-looking castle carved into a rock above the town of Predjama in south-central Slovenia. Many stories and legends surround the Predjama Castle and its most famous inhabitants, Erasmus of Predjama. Erasmus was a 15th century ruler of Predjama Castle who came into conflict with the Habsburgs after he killed the commander of the imperial army in Vienna. The commander had offended the honor of Erasmus' deceased friend, Andrei Baumkircher of Vipava, so Erasmus decided to take revenge. However, Erasmus later found that the commander was a relative of the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick III, so he decided to flee back to Slovenia and hide in his castle, Predjama, to escape punishment. At the entrance of the Predjama Castle, there is a little hidden room in the rock where the Habsburgs eventually found and killed Erasmus. According to legend, Erasmus was hit with a cannonball as he sat on the toilet in the little room. Despite his unheroic death, the ghost of Erasmus of Predjama is still believed to haunt the castle to this day. The story about the next secret room on our list is even more intriguing. But before we move on, take a second to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content. Number 6. Warwick Castle. Warwick Castle was originally built by William the Conqueror in 1068. It's located on a bend of the River Avon in the county town of Warwickshire, England. The castle is known for its many secret rooms, including a bear pit, which was only just discovered in 2013. The bear pit was used as an arena for the cruel sport of bear baiting. The poor animal would be tied to a pole in the center of the room and pitted against another animal or human. But there's another secret room in the Warwick Castle that hides an even darker secret. The room was discovered in the Watergate Tower, which is believed to be haunted. The ghost in the room is that of Sir Fulk Greville, an Elizabethan poet, dramatist, and statesman who lived in the Warwick Castle for some time until he was brutally murdered in 1628. Legend has it that Sir Greville was stabbed by a servant who was upset that his master didn't include him in his will. The servant first stabbed Greville and then turned the knife on himself. Greville somehow survived the stabbing, only to face an even more gruesome end. The Elizabethan doctors tried to treat Greville's stab wound by stuffing it with pig fat because they believed the fat would disinfect it. But rather than disinfecting it, the pig fat turned rancid and the wound became infected. After a few weeks of unbearable agony, Sir Greville died a painful death. Number 7. SAINTE-ODILE. In 2003, a French book collector called Stanislas Grosset stole over 1,000 ancient books from a locked private library in the SAINTE-ODILE, a monastery located 2,500 feet up in the Vosges Mountains in the French region of Alsace. The monastery dates to the 7th century AD and is dedicated to SAINTE-ODILE of Alsace, a Roman Catholic saint who was born blind but miraculously recovered her sight after being baptized. It was Grosset who discovered hidden stairways that led into a long-forgotten medieval library filled with thousands of rare historical books. None of the monks or staff at the monastery were aware of the existence of the secret passage until the books started disappearing. It's thought that the secret passage was originally built to allow senior members of the monastery to listen in on monks' conversation inside the common room. After the police set up hidden cameras to catch Gasse in the act, he was arrested and sentenced to community service, which involved helping catalog the books in the library at SAINTE-ODILE. What's interesting is that Gasse wasn't even a professional thief, and his act was inspired only by his love of rare books. All of the books stolen from the monastery were later found safely in Gasse's tiny apartment. Number 8. WELBECK Abbey. WELBECK Abbey is the site of a monastery belonging to the Premonstratensian Order, located in the dukeries of North Nottinghamshire, England. After the dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century, it became a country house residence of the Dukes of Portland. One of the dukes became famous for building a secret tunnel complex that radiated out from the house. The duke, whose full name and title is William John Cavendish Scott Bentinck, 5th Duke of Portland, spent more than 18 years and about £2 million a year in today's money to build the tunnels. He also employed as many as 1,500 workers, many of whom were the same Irish laborers who built the London Underground. The Duke built 4 main tunnels in total, with the longest one being 1.5 miles long. So why did he go through all of this trouble to build a secret tunnel complex? The truth is, no one knows. There's a lot of speculation among historians as to why the Duke decided to construct such an intricate network of tunnels. One line of thought is that he may have suffered from the skin condition known as psoriasis and wanted to withdraw from the public eye. Others believe that the Duke was obsessed with technology and simply enjoyed the process of building complex structures. The Duke and his obsession with tunnels inspired Scottish novelist Kenneth Grahame to create the character of Mr. Badger for his classic children's novel, The Wind in the Willows. Mr. Badger is a wise hermit figure who famously believed that there's no scrutiny or peace or tranquility except underground. Number 9. Versailles. The Palace of Versailles is one of the most famous historical monuments in the world and home to some of the greatest works of art ever created. But besides housing over 6,000 paintings and 3,000 sculptures, Versailles is also home to many hidden rooms. One of these hidden rooms was used by none other than Queen Marie Antoinette. The door to the secret room was hidden in the tapestry of Marie Antoinette's bedroom wall, and the passage led to a network of corridors, different from the ones used by Marie Antoinette's husband, King Louis XVI. The architects built the separate corridors because they thought it was better to prevent the queen from accessing the rooms of her husband's mistresses. However, it turned out that they shouldn't have bothered constructing any hidden rooms for Louis XVI because not only did the king never have an affair, it took him 7 years to consummate his marriage with Marie Antoinette. Number 10. Vatican City. Vatican City's famous landmarks are full of secret rooms and passageways, but perhaps the most intriguing secret room is, surprisingly, a bathroom. In the private papal apartments, the bathroom is referred to as Stufetta della Bibbiena, which means small heated room of Cardinal Bibbiena. It originally served as the washing room for Cardinal Bibbiena, a 16th century Italian cardinal and comedy writer. According to Tony Perotet, author of A Journey Through the Historic Underbelly of Europe, the tiny bathroom was painted by Renaissance master Raphael in 1516. This notoriously secret room is off limits to the general public, but Perotet managed to convince one of the clerics to take him in for a 5-minute tour. Although Perotet was not allowed to take any photographs, he made a few drawings and described the images he saw in his book. Perotet described the room as filled with erotic frescoes, such as an engraving of naked Venus doing her hair by the lake, and an image of Pan, the half-human, half-goat deity from Greek mythology. Which of these secret rooms would you like to visit the most? Let me know in the comments section down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content.